Welcome to the Old Spice Report. I'm Julie Alexandria. Beside me here is D-Mac, and we are coming to you live from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and we are wrapping up this Doritos Saturday night. D-Mac, before we go into what we just saw tonight on Saturday, I want to talk to you a little bit about Halo Reach. Now, you've been over at the Combine all weekend. What went down during the FFA, and what are your initial impressions of Reach?
Well, Julie, the FFA didn't finish till 4:30 in the morning yesterday. And I really like Reach. I really like the way it plays competitively. We've had a great time over there at the Combine. But what really stood out to me is I have to give an ode to Amish Acorn. Here is a guy who's entered 3 free-for-alls in a row and won every single one. He did it, 2 of them in Halo 3. Now he jumps to a brand new game in Halo Reach. He played an incredible game, and he won it at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's pretty impressive to win a game playing that long at 4 a.m.
It's not only impressive to win at 4 a.m., but to do it through a pool of 300-plus players 3 times in a row. That's outstanding. He's a top player in my opinion.
That's some insane stamina. Your initial impressions of Reach?
I like the game. I think we have a lot of work to do as far as MLG settings, as far as continuing to grow, and we need more pro involvement, and we need to finish Halo 3 before we fully concentrate on it. But Halo Reach shows a lot of promise.
How's your gameplay on Reach? How are you doing with it?
Oh, you know I hold it down.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Halo Reach, I definitely play it a lot, so everybody hit me up on Xbox Live, Dana Shaps.
Wow, okay. All right, putting yourself out there. Okay, enough about Reach. We'll tackle that later. Let's talk about tonight, Saturday night. We'll start with our first match that went down. Triggers Down beat Instinct. Did you predict this?
Now, on the bracket show, we discussed this matchup, and I said, if Triggers Down comes out and plays their ultimate potential, yes, they can be Instinct. But that's a big question because we haven't really seen them come out and play to their ultimate potential. But as you see, Triggers Down came out and they played great.
Okay, so you predicted that, but there is no way that you or anybody else, I'm willing to bet money on it, that you guys predicted that Dynasty would then full sweep 3-0 final boss. You didn't predict that.
No, no way. I didn't even expect Dynasty to be in this position. I expected them to lose the status quo, but now they move on to this matchup and they come out with a lot of fire, 3-0ing final boss. You know, what's interesting about that is they were down in the first game 2-0, and they get 3 caps in a row, and then they take the momentum. Dynasty, you could tell that they are all momentum players, and once they catch fire, they could be very dangerous.
How much would you attribute that sweep to Heinz? To the acquisition of Heinz?
Well, he's the most successful player out of all of them. When you look at what he's done as an individual player, now we have Clutch who won the national championship.
Yep.
But when you look at Heinz, he was the best overall player in 2009, highly regarded by all of the pros. So Heinz, of course, when he's in addition to that team, he's going to make improvements, even with the loss of Tzatziki.
And he did mention the fact of chemistry, player communication. He obviously wasn't happy on Believe the Hype, so now he's on Dynasty. He says he's really happy. How important is that communication between those 4 players?
Well, Julie, it's everything. Inside and outside the game, the chemistry has to be great. You see it with teams like Triggers Down. You see it with teams like Instinct and Final Boss. And now Dynasty. They have a great chemistry outside of the game, and that could propel them to some victories later on in their careers.
All right, let's talk about our winners bracket finals that we just witnessed. We had Triggers Down beating Dynasty 3-1. Predictions?
Triggers Down beating Dynasty, I expected that. When you look at Triggers Down, they've done a lot of things right, dominated at the 6-team LAN. It's finally their time. They're a seasoned veteran team. Dynasty, they're still a new team in my eyes. They just picked up Heinz, and they still have a lot of work to do. But Dynasty just had an incredible showing tonight.
Absolutely. Let's go to the brackets right now. I want to go to the bracket screen and show everybody what we're talking about. What stands out here to me is Dynasty beating Status Quo 3-1.
Well, they've been the standout all day long, Dynasty for sure. But Status Quo, you know, when on the bracket show, I messed up, Julie. I said Status Quo was possibly going to beat Final Boss. And the reason I said that is because Final Boss never really played Status Quo. But Status Quo had a big problem with Dynasty today, and it's because Dynasty really caught them. And Status Quo hadn't played Dynasty too many times, and Status Quo got caught, and Dynasty won.
Apparently, we're having a little bit of trouble with the bracket right now. But hey, what do you want? It's a live show.
No issues.
But you can check back with MLGpro.com, and you can check up the updated bracket. D-Mac, talk to me about bubble teams.
Well, now we talked about the bubble teams. all bracket show long, all pregame show long. We have straight Rippin. They lost the final boss in winners bracket round 3. And tomorrow, what's going to be interesting is Status Quo will be playing straight Rippin for top 8. So that possibly means that Status Quo will not get top 8, and if straight Rippin doesn't win that matchup, they don't solidify themselves to get a final spot in our national championships.
All right, well, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be joined by Neighbor from Triggers Down. We definitely want to talk to him, see what he has to say. Stick with us. We'll be right back.